for educational critical review and reaction is the late, great Jordan Maxwell.
Quite a few years ago, the big party at Disneyland is a special invitation-only party. And I got a special invitation from Disney to come to the party. And I met the president and chairman of the board of Disney and George Lucas, and I had lunch with both of them. It was a wonderful experience. I was there at Disneyland. Everyone was eating. It was lunchtime. And I got lunch and sat down at the table. I wasn't even thinking about where I was and what I was doing. I just got the lunch and then went over and sat at the table. And then come to find out, when I sat down, right across from me at the table was George Lucas. And right next to me was Michael Eisner, the president of Disney, president and chairman of the board of Disney. And so Michael Eisner and George Lucas and I sat and talked for a while. We had lunch together. And that was a very interesting situation for me. I wasn't expecting that. But I just happened to sit down in the right place at the right time and met both of them. And George Lucas said to me, he asked me, I introduced myself to them. I said, Mr. Lucas, my name is Jordan Maxwell. And reached over the table and shook hands with him. And he said to me, Jordan Maxwell, you've got a book out. It's got a red cover. And that book is called The Book Your Church Doesn't Want You to Read. Is that right? And I said, yes. And I said, I'm honored that you would know about my book. Yes, I'm flattered that you would know about my book. And he said, well, the only reason I know about your book is because I don't read books. I don't have time to read books. I hire people to read for me. I don't have time to read for myself. And he says, so, yeah, you're seeing a picture of George Lucas, myself, and Michael Eisner, the president of Disney, in the top left. And he said, I don't read. I pay other people to read for me. And he said, but my wife bought your book, and she really was impressed with that book, and she made me read your part. Because I just had a part in the book. There were other authors. Steve Allen was one of the authors. He was my favorite author in my book, was Steve Allen. And there were many other authors. But George Lucas said, my wife made me read your part, what you did. And I was very impressed with it. And he said, so that's why I remember your name, because my wife made me read it. And Michael Eisner, the president and chairman of the board of Disney, was sitting next to me. And he said to George Lucas, he said, who is this? And George Lucas said, this is Jordan Maxwell. He's an author and a writer and a researcher. And so I met Michael Eisner, and we had a real nice talk among the three of us. There were other movie stars there at the table also, quite a few. But I was talking to George Lucas and Michael Eisner. And I have met a lot of people in Hollywood. I know a lot about what's going on in Hollywood. The world-class expert on crystal skulls that have been found in Central and South America. There were crystal skulls, actual skulls with moving jaws, skulls that were glass. And they were like no other glass that's ever been found in the world. These were ancient, very, very ancient skulls made of a crystal that were buried in the dirt, and it was found. One was found, and another one was found, and they started finding these crystal skulls in Central and South America, and that's why they made a movie of Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, because there are crystal skulls, and I knew Nick Nocerino, and I used to help him when he was speaking at conferences. he needed help, so I would go down and meet with Nick Nocerino. I carry his skulls around. I carry the boxes with the skulls in them, and help him set up his lecture for the evening. So I was very close friends with Nick Nocerino, and he was phenomenally fascinating man. There was nothing he didn't know about the world of the occult, spirits, demons, devils, Hollywood, motion pictures, uh, and all the strange stuff with aliens, UFOs, and alien stuff. He knew it all. He was a world-class expert. And I used to hang out with him and learn from him. But that's why I always say I am not the world's foremost authority on anything. I've said that many times. I am not an authority. I'm just an ordinary man pursuing extraordinary knowledge.
Yeah, what did Nocerino say about the skulls? What did he think they were? These skulls. They were
communication devices like a telephone.
Mm-hmm.
They were a communication device that the extraterrestrials, the ETs, kept to communicate with each other.
Wow.
Because you could talk to the skull, and other people who had skulls would come back and talk to you through that skull. It was like having your own telephone, but it was not a telephone. It was a crystal skull, a glass skull.
Mm-hmm.
You could talk to the skull, and somebody else would come back and answer you and talk to you too. But they were not human.